Passion our purpose, profit our pain. I don't want my name to ever be in vain. A life full of substance is the only thing that will remain the same. Millennial thoughts. Welcome back to Millennial Thoughts Podcast with your girl Alicia. Today I have some special guests. If you read by the title or if you see the picture, we are talking about doulas. So I would like to introduce Anaya and Alexa to the podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
And we are going to be talking about, how to become a doula, the pros and cons, and like just different experiences with them actually being doulas as well. So I'm really excited to talk about that. And y'all already know it's Women's History Month, and y'all know the birth rates and everything when it comes to Black women. And, so we just wanted to shine a light, shed a light on, Black doulas. In the world, but these ones are in Kentucky. So if you're in Kentucky, I don't know if y'all travel, but y'all can let them know. So whoever wants to go first, you can introduce yourself, your business, and like how long you've been a doula and stuff like that.
Alexa, you can go.
Okay. Hello, everybody. Glad to be here. My name is Alexa Hughes. I am a full spectrum doula, meaning I serve as our birth community as both a labor and postpartum doula. I also am one of the only certified Black midwife assistants. You might also hear it as a birth assistant, interchangeable. I work for the Journey Nurse Midwives of Kentucky. And yeah, I function as Alexa's Birth Services. Been in the game since 2018. I love it. It makes me enjoy my journey as an aspiring midwife because I'd rather be doing this than working for restaurants for tuition.
Not working for restaurants for tuition.
Yes, girl.
Anaya, you can go next.
Yes. Hey, thanks for having me. I'm Anaya Trumbo. I'm I guess you could call me a full spectrum doula. I serve families through birth, postpartum. I do placenta encapsulation, lactation counseling. Also work with families that experience loss. So whether it be miscarriage or abortion, I support those families. Um, and I'm a veteran also, so I do tend to push out stuff for veterans. And um, let's see, I've been in this next week will make 4 years for me that I've been a doula, and it's awesome. I love it. It was one of the best decisions I ever made. And like the community I serve are a lot of low income families. That's my target market. That's who I try to reach, since they are the ones that usually get negative care when they do decide to have babies in hospitals. So that is my target audience, and my business is Lovely Offerings Doula Service, and that's about me.
Yeah, so I want to thank you all for joining and having this conversation. I think is really important. And y'all talked about a couple of words. And so just to like educate and inform people, I know that it can kind of get confusing with like doulas, midwives, and different things like that. Can you tell us like what the difference is between a doula and a midwife?
Yeah. So a doula is a non-medical birth companion. So a doula is there for you in like they have prenatal meetings with you. We're there for your entire um, birth, and we also stay with you postpartum. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
whether your provider was a midwife or a OB, those are considered your baby catchers.
Oh.
Kind of like if you were to put this in like parallel rows of your normal modern hospital experience, where
Mm-hmm.
you have a labor and delivery nurse, she cares for you through your entire labor, but you usually don't call your midwife or your OB until like we feel like it's time to push. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So a doula essentially is aligned with that, except for of course we're not medically trained, but we are your personal, all your attention, like labor delivery nurse. We're not hopping in and out of rooms. We're all yours. We can come to your home. A lot of my clients, like, we start at the home, then we transition to the hospital together, and we're there to give our knowledge, not even just in an advocacy ways, to ensure that you have the information to make informed based consent and decisions. But
Mm-hmm.
we also apply our knowledge by knowing different birthing positions. And I feel like a lot of people, they're like, oh, the birthing positions are there to help me cope, which is very true. But the other side of that is these positions are meant to help enhance the anatomical changes your body is already making. And that's what helps progress your labor when we say, like, doulas help apply knowledge to your birth. So when you hear the statistic that a doula can decrease your labor time by 25%, that's where a lot of that comes from. You know what I mean? So that's a big difference between what a doula is and what a midwife is. And so, like, even when you hear like a postpartum doula, she's
Mhm.
not going to be the one providing postpartum care as your midwife would, like medical postpartum care. She wouldn't be giving you stitches. She's not going to be the one giving your newborn the newborn care assessment and like shots, vaccinations, the eye ointment, all that other stuff. That's all medical hat and realm of a midwife, although your doula could be there to help assess and to ensure that your lactation's going well.
Mm-hmm.
You would like a yoni steaming, if you would like belly binding, like those type of postpartum services. Like Anaya said, she offers like the placenta encapsulation. Those are the type of things of like a postpartum doula versus like a midwife, and then using a labor or slash birth doula and then a midwife. That makes sense.
So the midwife is there for the birthing experience, right?
Correct.
No,
Like
I
the
I don't
midwives,
mean
they
like
do
the
more of
actual
the
like when they come
medical
out. Yeah.
parts.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure that, and the doula is kind of there as like your support throughout the whole thing.
The
Right.
whole experience.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. And so I don't know if this is a misconception or not, but can you have a doula um and not have a home birth then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering because
You can have
sometimes.
a doula for any birth. If you plan on having a C-section, you can have a doula. If you're a
Mhm,
surrogate, you can have a doula. Like doulas are for
mhm,
everybody. There's different titles that fall under a doula also.
mhm.
So you can have a doula for any little thing you could possibly think of.
Yeah, that was really interesting. The postpartum doula. I just know when I see home births, like I see doulas and midwives and things like that. So that's why I was wondering. Um, like I see it more in that part versus I don't see that many in the hospital. So that's why I was wondering if it was separate or if it was together.
Yes, you can most definitely go to the hospitals. And I honestly, why I think it's very important to have a doula in a home birth setting, if that's what you're planning, because if you do end up being like a home birth transfer, you completely transfer care. Like, even if they have midwives there, your midwife can't go with you, but your doula
Hmm.
can. Like,
Mm.
I can go and still give you that continuous support where the midwife pretty much, goes and transfer files and they go over your health records and all that stuff. But once you're admitted to the hospital, she's basically passing the baton and you'll complete the race at the hospital.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. That is really interesting. So with being a doula, you also can be a midwife, correct?
A
Correct.
lot of midwives start out as doulas just to
Okay,
have
yeah.
that foundation and
Mm-hmm.
how to really know how to assess families.
Yeah, because
And then they
because
transition to midwifery.
okay, yes, and then the next level after midwife is there another level?
No, I mean,
Oh.
there's many different educational pathways of a midwife, but I wouldn't differentiate them on levels at all. Uh,
Mm,
I will say, like, I do feel like as there's nothing wrong if you want to be like a doula and a midwife. I think you just need to be very clear on what hat you're wearing, so you're staying in your correct scope of practice.
Mm.
And
Oh,
then I do know it's also a struggle because some of us doulas that want to enroll in midwifery school, some of the schools don't want us to be like being birth doulas. You can still totally do postpartum because the schools are putting like liability insurance on you to birth as a student with your midwife preceptor. You know what I
okay. So it's kind of, it could be kind of like gray right there. Like it could be like some lines.
Right, right. So like once you get done with it, like you can go do like whatever you want. But I do know like that in between stage is sometimes hard for doulas, especially if you like didn't know. I know that's why I sincerely was just like, okay, so I really do need to like get serious about the postpartum side of my business because right now like I'm doing the educational pathway as a nurse midwife. So I'm in nursing school now, but once I get into midwifery school, I don't know if I'll be able to birth regularly. It'll probably be primary postpartum doula support, but I've also started like sibling doula, so like watching people's kids while they have their baby. It's called like
Oh, okay. That is fancy because, baby, I can't be worrying about one baby trying to have another baby. So how long, like, postpartum? I don't necessarily know, like, how long postpartum lasts, but how long does the postpartum doula be with the like the mom, or is it throughout the whole time they're postpartum?
I mean, each doula has their own like timeline on how they're
Hmm.
gonna support the family. So, like for me personally, my clients are gonna have me for an entire year. But I
Oh,
know
okay.
other doulas, like they'll give you like 6 months or something like that. So it just depends on each doula on how long they want to be with those families.
Okay, that is really, really cool. So my next question is, what made you all become doulas? Like, how did y'all get into
no, here you go.
Okay.
that?
I'll say what really drew me into, well, I'll say I've been in love with pregnancy, childbirth, all that, all my life. Like I was a 5-year old watching Baby Story on TLC when that used to come on. So I've
Hmm.
always been fascinated with it. And then once I, got older, I knew I didn't want to go anything medical because I'm like, that's too much money, that's too much school, that's not my forte. And then so growing up, my best friend, I was basically her doula before I knew what a doula was. And so, when we went to the hospital when she was having her baby, like I just seen the mistreatment. Like she didn't get a blanket.
Mm.
She was sitting there crying, asking for different nurses. And I'm like, I know this isn't right. And then after having my son the next year, it was a different experience. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I believe it was because I had more support there. And then after I had him, I learned what a doula was. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want. Like, I'm not going to be medically trained, so I don't have to worry about that stuff, but I'm able to support families
Mhm.
throughout their pregnancy and just see like the difference that it really does make. Like, it's such a beautiful thing. Like, I love being a doula. Like, it's amazing. I mean, I was just with a family yesterday who was in labor and we was hoping that the baby would be born, but he's not. He's taking his time and that's okay. It's just it's a beautiful thing. Like I tell everyone, honestly, like if you are really passionate about supporting families and wanting to be involved in childbirth some type of way, like look into doula work. Like, and it doesn't have to be something you do every day all day. Like people jump in and out of doula work just because they have their own lives, their own families to deal with. So I mean, I tell everyone just look into it and see if it's something that you could be interested in because there's always babies being born.
Mhm.
Plenty of people in the world. So doulas are for everybody.
Okay.
Yes. So I have a very similar story to Anaya. I was like 8 years old though, at home watching TLC. I do remember Birth Story, but I think I was watching one like that was called Birthday. And you just really watched how labor and delivery floor worked. So all I know, I was looking at the TV and I was like, yo, like, mom, I want to go to work and experience love every day. And like, that's how that translated to me on the TV. But I unfortunately also gained the misconception that the only way to help women bring babies earthside was to become an OBGYN. So that was my original educational pathway.
Mhm.
Um, Went down to Western Kentucky University, was like 19 credit hours from graduating with my bio degree, where I had to drop out. I didn't get grants anymore. I owed the school like $8,000, had no idea because they were like sending my mail back to Louisville.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it was, I thought, like, literally the worst day of my life, but, like, when you bring it back full circle, it was really just, like, divine timing. So, like, I come back home to Louisville, I'm working to, like, try to pay this money off. I don't know what job I hadn't worked, like, hustling. And my friend kept saying, like, "Girl, you really need to, like, just get you a hotel job. You can do homework and stuff." So I
Mm.
told Tristan and got me a hotel job, and this was the first time I actually, like, had so much time. It was the slowest job I ever had in my life.
Yes, I feel that one.
And so, like, I was like, "Okay, God, like, I'm still broke no matter what, so, like, might as well find a way to do something I love." So I literally just typed in ways to help women birth, and that's when the word doula came up, midwives came up. I was in a doula training the next week, and
Oh,
I
okay.
got just even more blessings from it from getting that started. I'm up here, like, reading, you have, like, reading assignments after you go to your doula training,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm out here just reading the Blackest of Blackest book, Killing of the Black Body. This woman comes up to my desk and was like, "Why are you reading this book?" And I really thought she was finna Karen me, y'all. 'Cause she was a white lady. I'm at this front desk in a rich area, and I was just like, "Why did I do this to myself?" But she was a whole ally, and she started, like, rapping with me about this book, and, like, she had, like, basically already read it and felt comfortable talking to me about it. 3 months later, this girl calls the front desk of the hotel looking for me, and
Oh.
Mhm.
I'm like, "I totally remember who you are, yada yada," because I was already interested because, I mean, one, she was so cool, I'm not gonna lie. I did look up her checkout history. She had never stayed with us, so I was confused.
Huh? Oh
Wow.
my gosh.
Right, y'all.
Wow.
You sound like an angel.
She no,
Mhm.
she really was. Because when I said say to y'all, she was like, "I don't know why you're not in school, but, like, I believe in your passion and your vision to be a midwife." And she called down to Western Kentucky and paid the whole $8,000 I owed.
Oh
You
my
What?
wow.
And
Oh
everybody
my
was like, "You
gosh.
didn't know this woman?" I swear to God, I didn't know her. I ran track for 12 years and I sold shoes, running shoes for 3 years. So my first conversation with her, anything I said to her, I seen her walking through the lobby and I was like, "Yes, Brooks, love him." Kept it moving. And it's crazy. And I feel like it was just all divine timing and my ancestors
Mhm.
put me on the right track of how I truly wanted to birth because I really did not know the different philosophies between an OBGYN and a midwife, and that the way I had seen myself helping women birth, I would not have been able to do so in the limits of an OBGYN license. And I thought it was the worst day of my life when I had to drop out of school, but just think I was struggling to pay off that money for 2 years. And it wasn't until I found our ancestral heritage of doulas and midwifery that this blessing came full around. Like,
Mhm.
Mhm.
That is crazy. That is such an interesting story. Oh my goodness. And I also like yours and I too. And it's crazy. It's just like we don't really know what's out there till something like happens to us or like we experience, because nobody is really talking about like, oh, become a doula, like in high school, like that's a job, Nobody's
Right.
like really telling us that stuff. We over here, well, not me, but some people, they trying to go the doctor route and stuff
Yep.
like that and take all these years of school. And it's like, what? I could do something else. Like I could do this, I could do that. I don't have to take all these classes and do all these years of schooling. And I could do right what I want to do, like being an advocate in a different realm. So I think that's very interesting. And I only really know about doulas and midwives because I just like watch people like content creators, like people who had home births. That's how kind of I know about them. And so just like looking from the outside in, it's like, oh my goodness, like when I do have a kid at that time, whenever that time happens, I'll be able to be educated more to know like, okay, I can get a doula, I can get a midwife. Like I don't just have to like go with what my doctor is saying or like my OBGYN at the hospital and stuff like that.
Right.
Um, so I would like to ask like how do you like provide your clients resources or like how do you go about searching for a doula? Credible doulas.
So there's a lot of websites out there that has like networks. So like Humana, they'll give families a list of websites that they can go to. I've gotten several from a website called Doula Match. And
Mhm.
they was like, my Humana person told me to come look on here and find a doula. So I've gotten a few people that way. And just, like there's networks everywhere. Like every city has a network, it seems like. So people can go find us on there. There's tons of us on Facebook that have
Mhm.
Facebook pages, and
Mhm.
we're all different. Like I do stuff different from Alexa. She does stuff different from me. We're all different in our own way, but we all come together for the common good. You know.
Okay. What I don't like what I guess is like the onboarding process. Like, do you interview the families and stuff like that? Do they interview y'all? Like, is that kind of how it goes and how they pick who their doula is?
Both for
Oh,
me.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like you need to know who you getting. Okay, who you
Yeah.
matching up with.
Yeah, because if we not jigging, if we do like a face to face or a Zoom or a
Mhm.
phone call, and I'm getting that energy, like you're not gonna be a good fit. I'm like, it's already like there's a woman in my office, and she just found out she was pregnant, and I told like another coworker, I was like, did you know she's pregnant? And they was like, no, you should be her doula. And I'm like, it's not even gonna be a good fit because I already like know her conversations. Like I just can't do that, and that's okay. Like every
Mhm.
doula doesn't need every single person,
Mhm.
especially here in Kentucky, like not a lot of people are open to the whole concept of having doulas all the time. There's a lot of people here that are still so gung ho on doctors knows best. And I'm like, okay, we'll see how things go.
Yeah.
Hopefully everything go good
Now
for
we'll
you.
see
But
how things go. Do y'all feel like it's really rare, like being black doulas in Kentucky? Like
yeah.
are in general, because there's not y'all don't think there's that many, and I don't know, like I don't want to be giving out locations and stuff like that, but like where in your cities, or do you feel like overall, like when you work with people, like it's coming up more? Do you feel like it's still like, oh my gosh, you're doula, like what's that?
I feel like more and more people are starting to know about it. I will say, I don't think here in Louisville, it's no longer that rare to be a black doula, but I will say, I feel like to be a black doula and to be professional, some people sometimes look at me like, oh, she's really got it together. And I'm just like, I'm a Virgo. I don't know what you thought.
Ah, okay, come on with the Beyonce energy. That is funny. Were y'all scared? I don't know if y'all can tell y'all scariest moment but was y'all scared when y'all did y'all first client, like by yourself, or did you feel like the process prepared you, however how long it took you to become a doula?
Oh yeah, I was definitely nervous when I got my first client because I had my first client like 2 months after my training. Like I literally posted a picture on Sunday with me holding my certificate, booked my first client that day. It was a girl from
Mm.
middle school who we had no contact. Like I
Middle
didn't know she
school.
was looking on my Facebook. And she
Oh.
hit me up. She was like, I'm expecting my third. And she was like, I want to have her doula this time.
Oh,
I had a
that's
whole
sweet.
hour drive to the hospital. So I was in my head the whole entire time. I was
Mhm.
texting my instructor, texting Facebook, not Facebook, family, friends. I probably did check in on Facebook at some point in time because I do a lot of Facebook stuff.
Mhm.
But like once I walked into her room, like all of those fears and doubts that I had, like the butterflies and all of that, they just, they went away because it was like second nature to me. Like even though
Mhm.
it was my first one, I felt like I'd done it before just because the training that I had prepared me for it. So even though mentally I didn't think I had everything in my bag that I thought I needed, like when it all was said and done, I didn't even use a lot of the stuff that was in my doula bag. Like my voice was enough, my touch was enough because it was a lot of me just in reassuring her that she was doing good, and just the massages that I was giving her, just sharing, giving her my energy to keep going and to keep telling her she's doing a good job. Her baby's going to be here soon. It was a very magical experience, my first one. Like even like that day after she had her baby, I kid you not, 10 minutes after she pushed that baby out, she was like, we're gonna have another one, I'm gonna book you again. So
Okay. Yes.
okay. I'll be looking
Say
forward to that.
the best customers are the returners.
Right.
Okay.
For
Oh my
me,
goodness.
I felt like it was just such a rush, and I didn't get that luck of like Anaya. She got her first one day of like I don't have a whole bunch of friends and families that like had kids. I didn't have any kids. I was young, so I feel like people didn't take me seriously in it.
Mm.
And I didn't have that you know, I've been around babies and stuff my whole life type of experience. So I was really just going off of putting my name out there and just saying that, like, I know my stuff. So it was like 8 months after I took my training that I even got to get to my first birth. And it's still, I still don't even think it was paid. I think it was volunteer.
What?
And, and that's where I really started trying to get experience. But to be honest with you, like, people don't appreciate free. So a lot of people weren't calling volunteer doulas to their births. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so that was another reason why it took so long for me to get there. And I remember it was during Derby, and I'm here in Louisville, I'm in Derby City, and Broadway was shut down for the Derby parade. And I'm like trying to get to this hospital, and I like literally parked in the most random street. Still to this day, can't remember what it was. I was just so excited to get to my birth. I put my doula bag on my back. I strapped it. Team track and field came back in me, sprinted it up those couple blocks. And like, because this was from a volunteer org, another one of the volunteer doulas was like there with her until I had gotten off work. And it was wonderful. I feel like that even helped in that moment, because like she was like, I got you a gift for your first birth, and she like gave me some cool stuff in my doula bag. And then another volunteer doula came and joined me, and I'm so happy she did, because we got done with that birth at like 2 in the morning, and I didn't even remember where I parked at.
At that point, I'd have been sleeping at the hospital.
Yo, so she drove me around and like looked and looked, and we found it. But it was a great first experience. And like, it's so crazy, y'all. The midwife that I had birth with that day, she had just got done with midwifery school and just started working at the hospital as a
Mm.
midwife. And I had no idea, because I wanted to know why our journeys were so tied together. I kid you not, you all, I had 13 births with her at that hospital before I got a birth with a different midwife.
Wow.
Whoa, that's good though.
Isn't that crazy? And then so what
Yeah.
I asked her, I said, girl, I just feel like ever since my first birth with you, I can't get a different midwife. I said, I'm not mad. I always have good outcomes with you, but I feel like our
Mhm.
journeys are like intertwined, and I don't know why it's so crazy. Like, I was just getting my start, and she had worked labor and delivery for a really long time and then decided to go midwifery. So she was just getting her start as a midwife. It's so crazy. Divine timing, y'all. Divine timing.
Yes. Okay, you good with the divine timing over there, girl. I was gonna be like, do you usually get partnered with different people? But I guess you would, because it's different hospitals, different doctors, and everything like that. So y'all don't usually probably work with the same midwives. That's what I was thinking. Are doctors, right? Or no, we do.
Yeah, no, it's always different, because it's always based upon, like, whoever my client chooses to be their OB or
Mhm.
midwife. I do say that there's some of the ones that you end up running into continuously, because I mean, they're the best and it shows, so they get booked the most.
Mhm.
Um, and also just for the fact that we do have very few Black midwives and OBs in the first.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
So that's why
That's
you
good.
oftentimes end up seeing like the same
Well, the
people.
same ones. Okay, I
Yeah.
see what you're saying. Do you feel like y'all have had one like a scary one, or do y'all feel like y'all haven't had anything like too scary?
I've definitely had some scary situations. I mean, I support unassisted birth, so there was a client, and I noticed a red flag. I was like, all right, we need to go to the hospital. And then we got hooked on the monitors, and then I'm just seeing the baby's heart decels. And then I'm like, all right, I'm not trying to tell her things are going wrong. I'm just trying to still keep her calm, but consciously I know things are not looking good. And then that
Mm-hmm.
ended up being an emergency C-section. I've had another client, the baby was having heart decels as she was pushing. So it was, urgent, like, hey, we need you to push this baby out like now. And as soon as he was delivered, they got him on the warmer and he coded. Like, I was taking pictures and I see his eyes roll back in his head and he coded. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this really just happened. So that one stuck with me for a while. And then after that, like, they assumed the mom was on drugs and all of this extra stuff. So they was treating her bad. So like that situation was
My
just so bad.
goodness.
So I definitely had some bad experiences, but I learned from them and just see how I can help if I ever have to come in that situation again. I just learned from what happened, and learn from to look for what's signs from the staff to so I know how to maneuver and make sure the environment still stays as calm as it could possibly be.
Oh, don't you be scared to like do it again though after scary ones be happening? Or do you
You
just like muster up
you
the
do,
faith?
but I just know in the end, like I'm put in this position for a reason. Like this is a calling that has been put on me, and I'm here to serve my community. And anybody that comes to me, most of the clients that I get, I've only turned down one client before, and
Mm-hmm.
but everybody else I get, they're so grateful, so thankful, and just the relationships that develop from those, like I love the relationships that I develop. I mean, there's a Facebook post going around saying some of my clients become my best friends or something like that. And
Yes,
it's
it
true.
says
Like some of
become
my
friends
clients are
before
really good
friends
friends. Like I
become
talk to them
clients.
more. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like some of my clients, I talk to them more than I do my best friends. So, I
Mm-hmm.
just love the relationships that come out of it. I mean, the scary stories, that's going to happen in any setting.
Oh,
So I'm
go.
like, you just take it for what it is, you live through it, you learn from it, and just look for the next one to come.
Oh, I understand. What about you?
I've most definitely had some scary ones. I It's not that I don't like philosophy and like mentally like don't agree with unassisted birth. I just can't do it because if I get caught, that's gonna kill my opportunities of like going into midwifery school. You know what I mean? But I did have one where the midwife just simply didn't make it in time, and it's just so crazy. Like 3 days before that, I went to an NRP, which is like neonatal resuscitation,
Mm-hmm.
and honey, that baby came out floppy, and I really
Oh.
had to use that knowledge like literally 3 days before that to get baby to bounce back. But in that moment, I wasn't scared. I was like hyped. Like I feel like I had been waiting for this since I was 8 years old. So
You're like, I'm ready. I got it. I'm getting it. What does an unassisted birth mean?
like, like
Means there's no medical provider there.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't know you could even do that.
Yeah,
Interesting.
there's really no laws really per se on saying where you can have a baby. Like you
right.
don't have to have anybody there. I mean, we've been having babies for
Yeah,
forever, in a
and that
million
is true.
years.
And so I was gonna bring that up too, and that's what I was thinking about. That's why I was thinking about home birth because me and my friends were talking, and we're like, "Well, when did people start going to the hospital? Because our grandparents they was having babies in the houses and all that stuff. Like there was really no hospital. So it's like, when did that change to being like, okay, women are going to hospitals now to have babies instead of being at home and stuff like that? Because we didn't have that, but it was like with technology and stuff like that, everything's changing. It's just like they're learning more. But before there wasn't no hospitals to even have a baby, so.
And like
Right.
a lot of hospitals here in Kentucky still don't even have a labor and delivery unit.
Yeah.
Like in your rural areas, it's absolutely crazy. Like modern maternity care came around like 1920s, 1940s, and they did kind of make it these laws where it made it hard to get access to midwives. And that's why we talk about how our granny midwives got colonized out of a profession that we created, we owned, and that not even created, but we brought over here in our heritage.
Huh? What?
Oh yeah.
That's crazy. And they kind of took it. Well, no,
Yeah,
not
like
kind of. They did.
they
Yeah.
did. They
Yeah.
did. They were like posting things in
When
newspapers,
they're
like
unsanitary, they don't know what they're talking about. Like,
using voodoo at your birth,
mm,
like all that stuff. But like even now, like me being more educated, like I'm just like voodoo isn't even nothing scary, but we think that, especially here in America, even as a black people, because they're always using it in like scary movies and such things. And I'm really learning like this is honestly just like Haitian medicine. Like
Mhm.
it's literally nothing scary at all. And they did a lot of that to push people into the hospitals. And at the same time, we did have
Mhm.
like women's rights building, and a lot of women, which was a good thing, was just like people have always told me that I have to suffer through birth because of whatever biblical story. And
Mhm.
if I have the right to go get pain medication, like I will. But at the same time, like black women were left out of that movement. It was so you see what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yes, I do.
And
I'm
then
sorry, but I can't be suffering because of Eve.
okay, right.
The Lord gave me mine, okay?
All of it. All of it.
But doulas, okay?
Mhm.
But I do not need to be suffering for no baby to be coming out me, okay? But yes, I definitely understand. Yeah, I just thought that was interesting because like now it's coming back out like before they was doing it at home. Now people are going back to home births and stuff like that, and like we're seeing more doulas and midwives and even in general because before when I asked, I don't even know. I think I asked like last year or something like that. There wasn't even that many tags or comments, but this time when I asked, there was still like more. There was more tags and comments this time, so I was just like, like it's growing and people are talking about it more as well. I don't know if I would be able to be a doula, but I do love babies.
You can be a
But
postpartum doula.
you
Yeah.
said what?
You could be postpartum doula.
I know, like maybe that's what I didn't even know. I really thought you only had doulas for the birth, so
Mm-mm.
maybe a postpartum doula is what I could be. It could be really interesting. And while we're speaking about it, how can one become one, or where should people look to like learn how to become a doula? Like the certification or like the classes, the school, like how would one go about it?
If we weren't having to satisfy the colonization of the profession right now, because there is states writing laws that you have to be certified
Mm.
by certain nationally led organizations, might as well just say white led, in order to like accept insurance and such things. I would have been taking the full circle doula training with the legendary Shafia Monroe. OMG, she's all of that. She has been in the game birthing as a strong Black woman for like the past 4 decades. And I took just like her postpartum training. But
Mm-hmm.
in order for me to half the time be accepted in the hospitals that we work in here in Kentucky, um, my major led organization is via Pro Doula. I've also taken the donor training, which I think is what Anaya is certified through.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's usually about a 20-hour class. That's usually typical of any certification or organization that you choose of. 20-hour class. It's just whether or not they choose to break it down in 3 days, 2 days. Most of them do a weekend. So it is a 2 day training. And then you have like from 2 to 4 years to complete your certification packet, which usually, excuse me, which usually includes a list of readings you have to do, essay. You have to go ahead and go get your clients. So it's a big misconception that you have to be a certified doula to be a good doula. Y'all, you have to go get these clients and have these clients report back to your organization just to get your
Mm.
certification.
Yeah.
I may have had 5 births my first year, but what if those people just didn't want to, or their life got busy and they never got around to meeting with my certification org? Like I have to keep going to get those people to get that certification. And then like it was like I think like at least the 82, 92 questionnaire. And
Oh.
I had to go visit every single one of the hospitals. This was pre-COVID when we was allowed to take like hospital tours when I was doing mines and like all of that stuff. It's very extensive to reach your certification, but I will say like I 110% agree. Like you don't have to be certified to be credible. I only certified because they started asking for our certifications to get into the hospitals during COVID because people were impersonating doulas to get around the visitation rules.
What? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. There's always some loophole somewhere. I'm a doula. I
Right.
messed it up. Okay, that is great information though. That is really great because I feel like a lot of people are going to be wanting to become doulas and stuff like that, midwives and stuff. So I just was wanting the people to know like how the process is and how they could, be a doula.
Yeah,
And
definitely do your research. There's
yeah.
tons of
Yeah.
organizations out there, so you got to figure out which one you want to commit yourself to. Because
I
like
Mhm.
look
I'm not
back and
certified. I did donor training, but I'm not certified through them. I don't agree with everything. So me as a doula, I train with whoever many people I want to, because everybody teaches a different thing. So
That
I
makes
just
sense.
mash it all together and make my
Mhm.
own take of it. I'm not
Okay.
gonna just say I'm gonna be associated with just one organization because I'm like I don't believe that everything is just gonna come from one organization, especially if I don't agree with everything you say or do.
right.
Mhm.
Like as long as I got my training certificate and that's what the hospitals are accepting, then that's what I'm gonna go. If I ever need to change it, then I'm going to find a black a Black traditional based doula training, like Shafia Monroe's.
Yes.
Okay, and she does postpartum, right?
She does full
Full
spectrum.
spectrum.
Full spectrum.
Yeah.
Sophia, what's her name? Sophia.
Shafia
Sure.
Monroe.
Okay.
I just chose to buy into. She just has like a separate training that's like postpartum practices of African American heritage and tradition, which is like really hard to get because we've been whitewashed out of a lot of
Yes.
midwifery journals and databases and such things
Mhm.
like that. So it was worth every penny.
Okay, yes. And with the certifications with that, do you feel like people should wait till they get their money together, or do you feel like it's affordable for people to be able to get the certifications and the pay and all that stuff?
A lot of them have payment plans. So, like when I
Okay.
did my donor training, I was on a payment plan with them, so I didn't have to come out of pocket straight up front. And some of them
Okay.
even offer scholarships. Like I've gotten
Oh.
my lactation counselor training. I got that one paid in full from a scholarship. So you just gotta see what's out there.
Mhm. Yeah,
And
do
then
your
there's
research.
even like organizations now that are getting funding to train new doulas, especially if you're people of color. They're getting funding to train specifically doulas that are of color. So there's things out there for people to get finances if they need those. If they want to become a doula, you just got to do your little research on it.
Looks up new dual scholarships.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yes. Well, thank you all so much for, coming on here sharing y'all's experiences, resources for people to know about doulas and how they can become a doula and y'all's experience. And I'm excited because on the next episode, I will be actually interviewing people who had doulas, the experience from the moms. So that was really cool. So if you want to, tell the people where they can find you if they're looking for your services, or if they want to know more about it, whatever else you offer, you share with them to let them know how they can find you on social media.
Yeah, I just wanted to point out real quick where like Amaya had mentioned earlier, Doula Matched, which is a great place for to find doulas, but some black owned domains are System Midwife, and you can find black midwives or doula on a nationwide level. And you also have blackbirthworkersrock.com also has a database of black doulas and midwives. You can find Alexa Birth Services on either one of those. My website is www.alexasbirthservices.com. I do have a Facebook that is Alexa's Birth Services, but to be honest with you, my public Facebook is where I do majority of my life posting, and my name is Alexa Hughes. It's open because all I do is post about salsa dancing and baby dropping.
That's funny.
People can find me on my Facebook page. I have a doula page also on Facebook. So my page is Lovely Offerings Doula Service. You can find me on there or my personal page, Anaya Trumbo, ANIHHYA TRUMBO. I do a lot of my stuff on there also, but Facebook, that's where everybody can find me.
Yes. Well, thank you all so much again for joining and talking about being a doula. And of course, if this is your first time listening to me, my name is Alicia and I'm the host of the Millennial Thoughts podcast. And I appreciate all y'all for listening. Y'all can follow us on Instagram at Millennial Thoughts Pod. We also have a Facebook and it is Millennial Thoughts. And if you would like to follow me on Instagram, you can, Alicia's Adventures. And if you know people who are looking into becoming a doula or they are a doula, they have experience, y'all can reach out to me. I'm sharing stories all month of March for Women History Month to, just shed some light to talk about different things that are not talked about on, regular mainstream media. So, yes, hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Make sure y'all leave a review and rate it on the podcasting platforms that y'all choose to listen to. Thank y'all so much, and hopefully y'all enjoy the rest of your day or night whenever you listen to this. Bye. Hey Millennials, I am back with a special announcement. Millennial Thoughts Academy is launching in March. This is where we will help millennials learn everything they weren't taught in school, side hustle edition. So if you've always been interested in starting a side hustle, but you don't know where to go, you don't know how to do it, you don't know how to brand or market or promote yourself, make sure you enroll into the academy. That is by following us on Instagram at Millennial Thoughts Pod, and you can email me or you can DM me and say that you are interested or click the link in our bio. We are so excited to be accepting people for our academy next month. Spots will fill fast. So it is a 6-week program and it is 1 hour meetings every week. And at the end of it, you will have your side hustle, you will have your social media, and hopefully you will have your first sale. So if that sounds like something that you are interested in, please, please, please contact me. Get with me on Instagram, Twitter, or even Facebook. I have a group. Facebook is called Millennial Thoughts, page and everything. And you all are the first people to hear this because you all are listeners. So I greatly appreciate it. Please reach out to me. I want to help you all start side hustle so you can either get that new stream of income, pay back your debt, or even use the money to travel. It's your girl Alicia, and she's out.